Hey, welcome back to the weekly follow-up. Today we're looking back on the phone bed. That was a pretty good video, I think, and I think a lot of y'all liked it a lot. Of course, I was originally going for that Hadouk and ebony. You know, now you can see it probably would have worked out, but see, because Roy, you mentioned something about like gluing up the legs to the footboard. I don't know. In the end, I like this shape better than this. That looks off. I was thinking the Hadouk with the ebony made it kind of look like a vampire bed. Honestly, I'm really happy with the way it came out, and I really don't have any gripes about it. Let's see what some people had to say about it, eh? Okay, I heard from Mary on that video. I haven't heard from Mary in a long time. Mary suggested that when winter rolls around, make it look like it has like flannel sheets on there. Now, that's a pretty funny idea. I might do that, or I might use like an old flannel shirt and make like a flannel blanket or something. Gary's comment, he said the only thing that would make it better would be to make it a Sith-sized bed with a wireless charger built into the mattress so it could use the dark side of the Force like Darth Plagueis the Wise. Don't worry, the Jedi Council doesn't tell you a story. It's not a story the Jedi would tell you. There's an inside part of this comment, and I'm proud of you, Gary. I heard from Kevin too. He said that he really liked the intro. Was really goofy. This whole project, from building it to filming it and editing the video, it was fun all the way around, and that's really what woodworking should be all about. Roy had mentioned like doing like doll furniture like that. His wife had said something to him. It would be perfect for doll furniture. I mean, look at it. It pretty much is doll furniture, except I made it from my phone. You know what sucked though? What happened why I did this project is me and Jennifer were eating dinner, and she bought those placemats for the table, and it has a pocket on it for silverware, and I slid my phone in that little pocket, and it looked like it was under the blanket, so I had like this epiphany of like, what if I made a phone bed? That would be hilarious. What a unique idea. How clever am I to come up with this idea of a phone bed? And of course I looked up phone bed on Google Images, and lo and behold, I have not come up with anything new. There is lots of phone beds, which is a thing, I guess? Which I'm kind of disappointed, TBH, because, well, I thought I came up with a really clever idea, but apparently I didn't. So I think that was all the comments I had on the phone bed. Last week I asked for an Ask Me Anything type of thing for y'all to ask me questions, and y'all did, and there were some really good questions, and I want to try to answer them in depth. So this video may be a little bit longer than normal, but just bear with me. Yeah, so anyways, on to the questions. I'll start with CJ. CJ said Roy got all the good ones. His first question was, if money, time, tools, and experience wasn't a factor, what would be the one thing I would want to make? I thought of an answer instantly when I read that question. One thing I've always wanted to make, even before I got into woodworking, I want to make a poker table. And I don't know how to play poker, I don't know how to play blackjack, I don't know how to play any gambling games really, but like a big round poker table, and I mean I want it to be super fancy swoopy legs, maybe made out of walnut, maybe like pull out cup holders, the green felt top, I mean the whole 9 yards. And I was thinking drawers on each player side where you could put chips and cards and all that type of stuff, dice. I've always wanted one, and I think that... Shut up! CJ also said, which one of your works is your least favorite? I have 2 that I thought of instantly. The first one being the Queen Q. If you saw that video, I made this... Shut up! Fuck you! I made this in November. The Queen movie was coming out, and so I wanted to do something for Queen coming out, and I thought I'd make the Queen Q. Now, you know, the thing with Queen is they're really flashy, they're really fancy, and like, oh god, I hate him. I wanted it to be fancy and elegant and over the top, just like Queen. It is nothing like that. It didn't come out like that at all. And almost every step of the way of this project was a disaster. When I was routing out the profile, the router bit, the Roman OG bit, just kept chewing into the corners. Like this one's real bad. This corner's real bad. And you could see the Queen Q has a lot of burn marks on it and ridges from the router table. And that was all the maple I had. I had nothing else. And CJ, I made this project before you gave me that belt sander. And the belt sander I was using burned out. And the same day, the orbit sander I had at the time burned out while I was starting to sand this. So that's why it still has the burn marks and the ridges. I tried my best to sand it by hand, but it was so rigid from the bandsaw and the burns, I just couldn't get all of it. So it looks hideously ugly. If you saw that video, and you might remember I had just a mustache. I didn't have a mustache because it was a Queen video. I had a mustache because it was right before Halloween, actually, when I filmed that, and me and Adam were the Mario Brothers for Halloween. The other one is this chips and dip tray. If any of y'all saw that video, I kind of wanted like a natural look, not like live edge, but just kind of a natural look. And in the end, I don't like the shape. I really wish I didn't route the dish. It's uneven, and it's nowhere deep enough to be a chips and dip tray. It's like ½ an inch deep, if that. And CJ, your last question was, how often would I say that I scrap an idea before I start making it or after it's already been started? Well, I've done it a few times. There's a long lost episode of Ming's Woodshop where I made what's called a bar height table, and it's just a really tall table. It like comes up to your chest, and it's for like drinking. It was kind of like the Queen Q. Like, it was such a simple design with simple construction, but for some reason it was just not coming together at all. So to answer your question in totality, it's not often. And then Roy was the question master here. One question that was kind of a two-parter. How did I get started woodworking, and what pushed me to start making YouTube videos of it? To answer the first part of your question, I never woodworked before. I've never even used power tools before. So I've never bought lumber, nothing like that. I never did any kind of shop work at all. I had come home from work and I was on Facebook, and you know how Facebook will just throw a random video in your news feed? And it was none other than Jimmy DiResta carving a spoon. I watched it and I was like, you know what, this is pretty satisfying. And I started watching more of it. I went to YouTube, and it gave me enough kind of curiosity about it to think, maybe I'll make something. I'd always wanted a solid wood clipboard for work because I saw one in a store before. I got back to get it and they didn't have it anymore. So I thought, I will make myself a wooden clipboard for work. And that was going to be it. I was never going to make any other woodworking projects again. It was just a little thing I wanted to try and have at my job to be a little fancy. It's kind of embarrassing to tell y'all, but I will anyways, just to provide some inspiration for getting started. I didn't even know how to use a circular saw. I had to get my dad to give me a rundown of how to operate a circular saw. There was no gluing up panels with fancy wood, it was just pine. And I cut out my rectangle and I sanded it and I stained it and screwed the clip on there, and I used a chisel to make a little groove for like a pencil to go into. I made that clipboard, something happened. I got drugged. I just knew that this is something that I have to do like forever. It became a drug and I was addicted, and I didn't know wood species at all. I didn't know the difference between pine from oak, hardwoods from softwoods. I didn't even know exotic woods existed. And I mean, the only tool we had was that circular saw and like a belt sander. To answer the second part of your question, Roy, I came across Dave Picciuto's channel, Make Something. It was his approach to not just woodworking, but making videos that kind of gave me the push. Just, breaking woodworking rules. Like using a type of wood that might not be suitable for the project he's making, and being like, I know that, but I don't care because this is all about having fun. And I really liked the attitude that he had, and he just seemed like he was having so much fun. And so I just had this camera laying around, and I thought, well, I'll start making YouTube videos of this. And that might have been a risky or unwise decision, especially when I first started my YouTube channel, because I barely had any experience. I still think I was calling oak walnut and walnut oak at the time, so I really didn't know anything about what I was doing. So I really was in no position to try to teach people how to woodwork when I don't know how to woodwork. So the whole premise of Means Woodshop, I think, has never been to be a how-to channel where I'm an instructor teaching you how to do it. It's more of, I am building this project, this is how I'm building it. I hope that this gives you ideas, and I would encourage you to make this. And with me being such a beginner, if I can make this, then you can make it. That's kind of the premise of Means Woodshop. It's a pool of ideas for y'all. You know, I encourage people to make my projects and make the stuff I'm making. And so that's kind of why I started the channel, and it's come a long way. Roy's second question was, how did I come up with the name Means Woodshop? If I ever make another YouTube channel about something else or some kind of social media account and you see the name Means in front of it, that means I couldn't come up with another name. That's kind of an anticlimactic answer, but when I can't come up with a username, I put Means in front of it. What does my wife think about all the projects, and what does she think about me making YouTube videos? And Jennifer's nickname is also Jeff, by the way. It feels weird saying Jennifer. So Jeff, she loves all the projects. It's funny, if it's not like a big piece of furniture or just something really fancy, she has that typical like wife, almost like a mom type of thing, where it's like, look what I did, and you're just like, oh, that's nice. What's weird is sometimes I'll make something really big and fancy and just like really impressive on a woodworking scale, and she's just like, oh, that's nice. And sometimes I'll just make some little trinket and show it to her. She's like, oh my god, that's so cool. Jeff is actually very supportive of the YouTube channel. We also know that if the channel ever explodes on YouTube, we know that it could potentially be lucrative in the future. It's almost like a long-term goal, sort of. Like, if it never happens, I'm not going to quit Means Woodshop. I'm going to keep doing this because I have fun doing so. But if it does happen, that would be really cool. So we know that there's a lucrative aspect to it, and this is a question all men should worry about. He says, what does my wife think about me spending a lot of time in the workshop? You know what? Jeff is probably more okay with me being in the wood shop than she is with me taking the time to edit videos. And I say that because I only get to do woodworking like one day a week. My woodworking day is Saturday, and I treat Means Woodshop like a job. Like, this is a schedule. I promise people videos every week, and I take it seriously, and like, she is okay with that. Sunday through Friday, I'm at the house. We're both equal responsibility, taking care of Ben, taking care of the house. So she's pretty chill and laid back about me just taking, a couple hours on a Saturday to come into the shop and to build a project. And 9 times out of 10, it's for her anyways. During the week is when I edit the videos, and it can take me a couple hours to work on a video. So to sit down on a night when we're both home and there are things that need to get done, Ben needs to be taken care of. She gets a little frustrated sometimes while I'm working on videos and stuff needs to get done. So I usually gotta find a stopping point and get up and help her take care of whatever needs to be taken care of, and then I can get back to it. So really, she's pretty okay with the shop time. It's more of the video editing time that causes more of a, and it doesn't ever really cause a problem. It just sometimes she'll get a little cranky. I think I'm going to take a page out of CJ's book for my question of the week. If tools, money, time, experience wasn't a factor, what is the one thing that y'all would want to build? So I think y'all will like the video for this Friday. Anyways, I will see you guys on Friday.